This is the recording for the assignment 3. My topic here is the impact of the ESG practice on bank performance using the mediating role of asset quality. Therefore, we have formed a brief framework which is to analyze the impact of ESG on the performance of banking industry in China. Or independent variables here is the ESG score collected from the internet. And also, we also collect all the financial performance measurement from the public listed companies in China. Also, we think that based on the previous literature, the level of digitalization has also have some impact on the financial performance. So to make our assignment more simplified today, we only use the ESG score as the independent variables, using the net profit by total asset as a measurement of the profitability and the impact, and include the impact of digitalization of a company. Okay, then next let's have a look about. Okay, next we will use data to make a regression to test the relationship. So the data here is collected from the Chinese listed companies ranging from year 2011 to 2023. So here we have the stock number, the company name, their industry, their location, province, cities, and also our key variables here, the ESG score rated by Huazheng. And next is the asset level, their profitability measurement, and also the level of digitalization. So we can see we first need to select only the commercial bank's data. So I will use the do file to keep the industry only within the commercial banks. Then we can see from the data file, only the commercial bank's data has been kept. And the second one, we will have using the summarized code to generate the descriptive statistics. So here we can see the statistics is included to summarize the profitability measurement, the ESG score, and the level of digitalization. We can see that our key variables here, the ESG score, there we have 300 observations. And their mean, their standard deviation, the maximum, minimum here. So next, we will have a check on the multicollinearity test to examine whether the ESG score and the level of digitalization in banks are correlated. So next, we will have a regression. So next, we will have a regression of the two variables and their impact on the ESG score. To check the VIF number, we can see that the number here are within the range of 1 to 2, which is showing that there is less possibility of the intercorrelationship between ESG score and the level of digitalization. Okay. So the next step, we will have a correlation analysis. So here is the result of the correlation. We can see there is a relationship between the profitability measurement, their asset to debt ratio, their quick ratio, and the ESG score and level of digitalization, whether they are correlated. And the next part, we need to make the data as a panel data. We will need to drop the composition with the missing numbers in order to set our panel data. So then we will use the do file to drop if there is missing numbers. For example, if the company is discontinued or whether the company don't have an ESG rating in this year. So after dropping the missing rows, we have dropped 12 observations. So the next step, we will set the panel data and to choose a model. So here we have set our panel data as the stock number and the year range from 2012 to 2022. In order to make it a panel data, we know that we should keep it as a balanced data, but there is some problems here. I don't know how to drop more missing data to make it balanced. So keep this mistake, we ignore this mistake, and to make it next step. Next, to choose the panel data from between the fixed effect and random effect, we will run the F-test and Hausman test. So the first step, we will run the F-test. So here is the result. And also for the Hausman test, so we can see that their probability, their p-level is less than 5%, which just means that we need to reject our null hypothesis and accept the H1, which is to accept the fixed effect model. So in order to test the relationship between the ESG score and the digitalization on financial performance of banks, we will choose the fixed effect model because it has passed the Hausman test. So the next part, after we have choose the fixed effect model, we will run a regression on the ESG score, their profitability, their asset to debt ratio, and their credit ratio. So here is the regression result. We can see that which means that at the 1% level of confidence, we can accept that there exists a relationship between the ESG activities and their profitability. And there exists a positive relationship between these two indicators. Okay, so the last step, to test whether the model is stable and robust, we need to conduct the robustness test. So we can choose to change another instrument variables, which is using another similar one to test whether the model is still stable, or we can make another regression if using a different time period. So next, I have split the time period from 2012 to 2017, and also the next time period between the 2017 to 2022. We will try to see if during different time period the result is still robustness. Okay, so next we can see the result here, which is showing that under different, the panel data is set here, and also we can see that the result time between 2017 and also the result from 2017 to 2022. We can see that the probability test is they all pass at the 5% p level. So which means that within 5% of confidence, we can pretty sure that the model is robustness. Okay. Also, we want to run a regression to further test if we add another control variables, which is a bank size measured by the asset size of banks. Is there any influence or is there any change of the correlation result. So next, let's have a regression of ESG score and the profitability of banks. Okay, we'll run the do file and we can see the results here. So before we add the control variables, which is the bank size, we can see this is the result. And this is the result after we have added control variables, which is the bank size. We can see that the coefficient level here has increased a little bit, which has shown that there exists a positive and significant correlation between ESG score and the bank's profitability. However, we can see the R square is nearly at 6%, which means that only 6% of the changes of bank's profitability can be explained by the ESG score activities. So, which means that we also need to add more variables to make our model more complete. Okay, so this is the end of the assignment 3.